Yes, good evening, everyone. Good evening once again. I welcome you all to another section of the training. I welcome you to another section of this training, and it's my pleasure, my sincere belief and appreciation that since the beginning of this training, you must have been picking one or two things. So this night again, we want to continue from where we stopped last time, last Tuesday, and last week Saturday I was away around, so I just have to let it have it this way. But tonight again, we are pretty much here tonight again, and I believe that as we move on again, we are going to gain a lot. You have one or two things that will be added to you tonight again. So, this topic we are starting with tonight, somebody may be saying, I'm not a teacher. But at the same time, I want you to know you're a teacher. Either you're a parent, you're a teacher, and if you are a parent, as I've said, you're a teacher, you're a pastor, a student pastor, children pastor, you should know fully well that you are what? You are a teacher. So do not say, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a teacher. You definitely a teacher, right? So you are a teacher, right? So tonight again, we want to move straight on. And the topic for tonight, I'll be starting with tonight, is classroom management strategies for adolescent. Classroom management strategies for adolescent. Because at the end of this training, you are going to have access to a certificate that will carry the name of certified adolescent behavior manager. Right. So that's what we are starting with tonight. So let's proceed. So under classroom management strategies for adolescents, the first aspect we're looking at, what is part A, is establishing clear expectations and rules. One of the ways to modify the behavior of a child is by giving them or by establishing a clear rules which will make every one of them to be able to live by. Even if you want to look at the scriptures, the Bible, to those who are Christians, you discover that there are some certain things that the Bible says you must do, and there's some certain things that the Bible says you must not do, right? So the same thing goes to behavior management. So in the classroom setting, either homes or in the office where organization where you are managing the young ones, the youth, the adolescents. So there should be an establishment of clear expectations and rules that will guide their behaviors. Now the first thing we're going to look at is what we call, or what I call, collaborative rule setting. Collaborative rule setting. So in this case, you are going to involve students. You will not be the only one or the adolescent, let me use that word. And you know quite all right that people from age 10 to 19, they are belong to the group of adolescents, right? Don't forget that. So involving students in collaborative rule setting. So engaging adolescents in the process of establishing classroom rules. You engage them. Even you can say, okay, you have a captain, a class captain, yes, or class head, class monitor, as the case may be, which we call constituted authority. So you can ask them, okay, you constitute some set of people, or you ask them to do it amongst themselves, which is going to be open to everybody in the classroom. Now, the first thing to do is you involve every one of them in the process of establishing a classroom rules. Allow them to contribute to the creation of guidelines, fostering a sense of ownership and responsibility. So another thing under collaborative rule setting is clear and concise rules. I call it clear and concise rules. So it must not be ambiguous. It must not be opaque. It must be clearly articulate expectations, rules, and consequences. The language that must be used must be clear enough for them to be able to understand. That is, use language that is easily understood by students and display the rules prominently in the classroom. In a situation whereby we have billboard, or we call it billboard, we call it billboard, no, we call it announcement board at the back of the classroom, or a decoration board where you put some pictures, you can paste it there, and one corner of your classroom on the whiteboards, on the board, you can put it there as well. So that is just about the collaborative rule setting. So the second thing under establishing the clear expectations and rules is what I call consistency and fairness. Consistency and fairness. So consistent enforcement. These rules, these apply rules consistently to promote fairness. That is, adolescents respond positively to a predictable and a fair environment. They respond what? To a predictable and a fair environment. That is what they do. Another one is fair consequences. That is, clearly outline the consequences for both positive and negative behaviors. If you do your assignment on time, this is what we are going to give to you. If you come to school early, this is what we're going to give to you. If you sit right on your place, on your seat, if you carry your book to read when the lesson is not going on, this is what is good. And if you disturb other people, this is what is going to be the consequence you're going to have. So this will make children in that age bracket to be able to maintain a balanced behavior. So ensure that consequences are fair and at the same time they are proportionate to the measure of the behavior. So, and understood by all students. So that is just the second aspect of establishing clear expectations and rule. We want to see the number three now. The number three part of it is what I call positive reinforcement. Don't forget that while I was talking some weeks ago, I had made mention about this thing, but there is a need for us under classroom management to recall this, to put this into remembrance as well. So, rewarding positive behavior, implement a system of positive reinforcement to acknowledge and reward adherence to rules. Definitely, we have some people that always stay close to the rules and regulation. We have them Like in those days when I used to teach in those days many years ago, I'm still teaching. There's when I was in secondary school and primary school. That's what I'm referring to. Then I have rules as well, and I have this very child, particular girl. She'll be quiet. She's so quiet, and she won't disturb anybody. And once she gets home, they know that she talks at home. But in the school, you will never say anything against her because she will behave herself. So because once you have that rules, they'll be able to maintain their balance, to be able to live by it. And through constant practicing of this, before you know, those things must have been, I mean, positive aspect must have been part of them. So before anybody can take it away from them, it is so difficult. You remember the children, the Rechabites, when they were asked to eat, say, Baba, our father has told us that we're not going to do what? We're not going to eat anything that's been sacrificed to an idol. You remember so that like the okay, when did you we asked to sing? You know, as we sing the love song in the song. I think I'm trying to recollect what happened in that very bit to Rechabites, right? So that is just about this one now. So rewarding positive behavior implements a system of positive reinforcement to acknowledge reward adherence to rules. This can include verbal praise, as I've said, good boy, applaud her, applaud him, brilliant you. So recognition, it can be a small gift and it can be a small incentive as well. So that is on positive reinforcement. So the other side is celebrating success. Acknowledge and celebrate instances where students meet or exceed expectation. For instance, to make an adolescent to be consistent in behavior. For instance, maybe you set a standard that in mathematics, anyone that scores 80% or 90%, this is what he or she is going to get. And the child is able to meet up with that without telling when the school organization or the family or all the stakeholders, you can just look for a gift to celebrate, to make the colleagues, his peers, to celebrate him or her by presenting what just a token and celebrate him or her before everybody. So where students meet on exceed profit. So positive reinforcement reinforces desirable behavior. Can you see that? Reinforces desirable behaviors, right? So that is just about the part A, yes, which is under the class management. The part A under the class management strategies for adolescents. We look at, I want to check is feeling something about network. Our network is still intact. Okay, so now it's still recording and the screen is still showing. Just want to be sure, right? Okay, so as I proceed again, okay, as I proceed, let me move on. All right, so that is, I said, we're talking about classroom management strategies for adolescents. So we have discussed about establishing clear expectations and rules. And the second aspect we have talked about, we were talking about collaborative rules under it. We talk about consistency and fairness. Under the collaborative, we talk about involving the students and the clear concise rules. Also, we talk about consistency and fairness, where we discuss about consistent enforcement and fair consequences. So then we move to number three. We just concluded end of the book now about the positive reinforcement, where we talk about rewarding behavior and celebrating success. Now, the part under classroom, the next one under uh, classroom management strategies for adolescents is effective communication with adolescents. Effective communication with adolescents. So that's the next thing. Effective communication with adolescents. I mean effective communication. I mean effective communication. Right. So let's just look at it this way now. We're talking about effective communication. The first thing is open and respectful communication. Open and respectful communication. It is very important we must have what we call listening ears. We must have listening ears. We must have listening ears. We must have listening ears. So that is, I call it active listening. It is not everybody who has listening ears. As an adolescent behavior manager, you must cultivate the habit of having active listening here. So practice active listening to understand students' perspectives and concern. This is very important. So this foster a sense of respect and validation. Not that what you feel, what you wish, what you feel is to be. Try to listen to their side of the story. Try to listen to them when they communicate. This tends to know to foster a sense of respect and validation. That is just under. So the second one under that is encouraging open dialogue. Encouraging open dialogue. So you must encourage open dialogue, right? It's not that you always be the one that always dictate every time. So when you are doing that, you are killing them. So always allow opening dialogue. You understand? So create an environment where students or adolescents feel comfortable to express themselves. Give that environment, make it better. So encourage open communication to address issues before they escalate. You do what? To address issues. You rub minds together, you share together. Oh, if something is like this is how it should be, something like that how it should be, and everybody will come to consensus. At the end of the day, you'll be able to allow them peace to reign. Whatever that must have happened, once you have encouraged open dialogue, it is easy to maintain a good behavior, a positive behavior in adolescence. That is just that. That we move to the next one. That's the second aspect under effective communication with adolescents, which says clear instructions. Clear instructions. So clarity in communication provides clear and concise instructions. So ensure that students understand expectations and tasks, reducing confusion and frustration, like making use of visual aids. In those days, we call it teaching aids, instructional aid, or instructional aid. So use visual aids such as written instructions or visual schedules to support verbal communication and enhance understanding. So number three under it is positive language. Positive language. Positive language is positive language. So positive phrasing. Use positive language to communicate expectations and corrections. Emphasize what students should do rather than what they should not do. Emphasize on what they should do by telling them the right thing, the good thing that they must cultivate an habit of doing from time to time. That the Bible says that says faith cometh by hearing, and by hearing that the word of God. So when you keep telling a child something positive, do this, do this, do this. Keep telling them from time to time, from time to time, from time to time. So emphasize what students should do rather than what they should not do. All right, under the positive language. So another one is that constructive feedback. Constructive feedback. Offer constructive feedback that highlight areas for improvement while also recognizing student effort and achievement. It's very important that we give feedback. If the child is good on one area is to tell such a child. That's if the child has done something that wants giving a feedback on that, it's very important to say these tends to boost their morale and it's tend to improve a positive behavior in them. So don't forget constructive feedback, over constructive feedback that highlight areas for improvement while also recognizing students' effort and achievement. Right. So that is just about that. We move on again on that. That is the okay. Okay. So the next thing now is the C, the A, the B, the C, and the C under management, classroom management strategies, and that is strategies for creating positive and inclusive classroom environment. We want to look at strategies for creating a positive and inclusive classroom environment. We want to look at it now. Strategy for creating a positive, I repeat, strategies for creating a positive and inclusive classroom environment. Number one, cultivate a positive atmosphere. Do what? Cultivate a positive atmosphere. How? Warm and welcoming environment by creating a warm and welcoming environment. So create a physically and emotionally welcoming classroom. Use decor and arrangement to foster a positive atmosphere. Decoration and arrangement to foster a positive atmosphere. Another one under cultivate a positive atmosphere is positive teacher to student relationship. Yes, or adolescent manager to adolescent relationship, as the case may be. But you discover that we're talking about teacher to students. Yes, why you are their managers because you are a teacher to them. So you are managing them. Even as a teacher, you are managing the students in your classroom, right? Or you're a stakeholder, you are managing. If you're a parent, you are managing them. So you are still a teacher, right? There's just that there is no school settings at home. But still, let's just look at this positive teacher-student relationship. You must build positive relationship with students that shows that show genuine interest in their well-being and success. That will show that truly this our manager or our teacher shows a genuine interest in us. We always want to know our well-being, and want to know our success. I remember many years ago, when I was teaching, I have a guy, boy, I taught like that. Most times I always struggle with him. But last time I asked the mother, I said, how is my boy doing? Is that your boy is not in Lautech? I was so happy, so elated because I did not give up on him until I left that environment. But now the boy is doing great. He's doing great now. So it's very important we contribute and we create a possible teacher-student relationship by building positive relationship with students. And this will make them to know that we have a genuine interest in their well-being and their success. Right? That is that about that. The second thing we look at under the strategies for creating a positive and inclusive classroom environment is inclusive practices. Inclusive practices. Under it, we have diverse perspective. That is, incorporate diverse perspective in the curriculum to make all students feel represented. There are so many of you that they want to have school tomorrow. That is just this thing, yes. That we want to have school and we want to have children ministry, yes. Apart from you are teaching them Bible alone, all of these things, you need it. Because in 1946, yes, to be precise, when Pepscos came to Nigeria, so Pepscos, he criticized the education that the missionary brought to Nigeria, because he said some of the things inside their curriculum did not base on the culture of the African country. So this time around, there's some things that we need to know as a normal lifestyle a child must be built, even though the hearts need to be built right through the word of God, right? But at the same time, there are some things that you as a person you must know, and the process of running a school or of an organization where we have these adolescents, so you should understand and have knowledge of how to go about it, because everything is not about spiritual, because you have to put some administration into it as well. So know that. So diverse perspective. So incorporate diverse perspective in the curriculum to make all students feel represented and what? And value, because we have different temperaments in children. So, and they exhibit behavior in different ways. But by doing this, you'll be able to put all the temperaments in the same curriculum that will give every one of them free access. That will show, okay, they are well represented and valued, because we have some they are introverts, some they are extroverts. Their habit, their behavior can never be the same, right? But when you are not designing the curriculum, it must be diverse perspective. That is, you must make them to feel as if they have value. Now, another thing is that differentiated instruction. So tailor instruction to accommodate diverse learning styles, as I've said, diverse learning styles and abilities. You know, we have psychomotor, we have cognitive, and we have affective. So you have to understand that some people, they are very sound cognitively. Before you say it, you already understand what you're saying. They will give you the answer. But there are some, they may not have this sadness the way others does, those who are very good cognitively, but by making use of their hands to do some things, they are very good at that. Just as psychomotor. But we have some people, they are affective. They have these habits, a very good behavior on how to relate with their environment. And when they are relating with the environment, they tend to exhibit a good behavior. So everything you want to do should be able to carry these these people with these different learning styles along into the curriculum, and same time to accommodate them so that they will be able to know that truly you value them. Tailor instruction to accommodate these diverse learning styles and abilities. Recognize and celebrate individual strengths. So you must recognize and celebrate individuals. But all of these things are not even in our educational settings, because they tend to make the curriculum bulky. Yes, but what they're just after is putting books, everything inside their brain. What they need to do, the teacher herself or himself need to do, to know, to learn, all of these things are not being put in place, right? So that is just about that. As we proceed again, we want to look at the third point. The third point, the battery of the system is going down. So let's just give me a few minutes to put that one in place. All right. So as I was saying, now that is just about the number 2 points. So while we're moving to number 3, now I'm moving to number 3, and which says, let's see, under the same strategies for creating positive and classroom includes collaborative learning. We call it collaborative learning. In those days when many of us are in tertiary school, even though we are already grown all this, we always do this. What we call collaborative learning. We come together, we call it group discussion in those days. We call it teamwork, and understand, we call it, we are given project, We come together to put heads together to work. So the third thing is that don't forget is collaborative learning. Collaborative learning. So I think most especially all these things are being done in tertiary, and it's not only in tertiary. Once you are able to recognize the age of the child that belongs to the adolescent group from age 10 to 21, so to say, or yes, possibly 19 years. So you should be able to put this into practice. Then collaborative learning. So group activities. That's number one. Under collaborative group activities, encourage group, encourage collaborative learning through group activities and projects. I repeat, encourage collaborative learning through group activities and projects. This promotes teamwork, social skills, and a sense of belonging to make every child to speak out their mind, make every child to contribute. So by so doing, it's boosting their social skills and at the same time making them to have a sense of belonging and to help them to know how to work together as a team. Another thing under cooperative learning is peer support system. Establish system for peer support and mentorship. So this fostering a sense of community among students, and that is just about that. Now the next aspect we are moving to is number 4. You can see that I see I'm rushing this. I'm not rushing anywhere. I'm just taking it step by step. So another one is conflict resolution strategies. Conflict resolution strategies. Conflict resolution strategies, right? So under conflict resolution strategies, there's what I call teaching conflict resolution. Teaching conflict resolution educates students on conflict resolution strategies, provide guidance on how to express concerns and resolve conflicts in a constructive manner. That is just about that. Another one is mediation and support. Intervene promptly in conflicts. Offering mediation and support to help students navigate interpersonal challenges. So that is just about that. So the next one I'm moving to here is number 5. That is flexibility and adaptability. Flexibility and adaptability under the STEM strategies. So don't forget classroom. So don't forget that. So it's flexibility and adaptability. So flexible learning environments. Flexible learning environments foster flexibility in the learning environment, allowing for students based on individual needs and unforeseen circumstances. Another one is adaptability. Be open to adapting instructional methods and classroom policies to better meet the evolving needs of adolescents. So that's just about that. Now, in conclusion, under classroom management strategies, by implementing these classroom management strategies, educators, adolescent managers, and caregivers can create an environment that supports positive behavior, effective communication, and inclusivity, contributing a conducive and enriching learning experience for adolescents. Now we want to go to another one, and that is we have discussed some of these two when we are talking initially in the introduction of behavior and management, and we just digress. But today we are going to dig deeper for that in it. We want to talk about individualized behavior plans. If you recall, we discovered that we have made mention. So the first thing we want to look at under individualized behavior plans is part A of it is we want to look at conducting functional behavior assessment. Conducting functional behavior assessment. Conducting functional behavior assessment. The first thing we look at is the definition. And we said that FBA, that is functional behavior assessment, we said is a systematic process for understanding the function or purpose of a specific behavior. It involves gathering information to analyze the antecedents, behaviors, and consequences associated with the behaviors. So that is just the definition about FBA, which is a systematic process for which we understand the function and the purpose of a specific behavior. And it usually involves gathering information to analyze the information gathered, antecedents, behavior, and the consequences that may associate with the behavior. So that is just the definition about FBA. Let's proceed. So number two thing we want to check under FBA is we want to look at steps that can be taken in conducting functional behavior assessment. So the first thing we need to do here is to give out the definition of behavior, that is, define the behavior. Clearly define the targeted behavior that requires assessment. This could be a behavior that interferes with learning or social interactions. I repeat, steps in conducting functional behavior. Number one step is to first of all define the behavior by clearly define the targeted behavior that requires assessment. By so doing, we can look at the behavior that interferes with learning or social interactions. So, the second step in conducting the FBA is data collection. The first thing is to define the behavior. The second is to do what? To collect data. Gather data through direct observations you observe. Two, you interviews. And three, reviews of existing records. So the goal is to identify patterns and triggers are related to the behaviors. So that is the step in conducting FBA. Another step in conducting FBA is functional analysis. After we have gathered the data, the next is to do what? Is to analyze. Analyze the data to determine the function or purpose the behavior serves for the individual. Common functions include attention seeking, escape, access to tangible or sensory limitation. So the next thing we are still going to check is that we want to see use of FBA in intervention planning. How we make this FBA functional behavior plan. How we make use of it. The first thing under that is information. We use it for what? For decision making. The information obtained from the FBA informs the development of effective intervention strategies, which helps in selecting the interventions that directly address the functions of the behavior. The second thing that will make the second aspect of it under the use of FBA is that for prevention strategies. We make use of FBA for prevention strategies in intervening planning. So FBA results may reveal antecedents that can be modified or specific triggers that can be addressed to prevent the occurrence of the behavior. Please note all of these things. So we are moving closer gradually to the end of so that is so the part B of it is want to look at developing and implementing individualized behavior intervention, developing and intervention plans. We call it behavior intervention plans, BIP. We want to look at the definition, and we say that this BIP is a personalized plan developed based on the findings of the FBA. So the BIP is based on personalized plan that is developed on the findings of the FBA. So here it outlines strategies and interventions to address and modify targeted behaviors. address and modify targeted behavior. That is the first thing on our academy. So another one under that is that developing and implementing the right behavior is you want to look at the components of BIP. What are the components of BIP? Number one is clear behavioral goals. So define specific and measurable behavioral goals that are observable and achievable within a time frame, which is very possible within a time frame. So another one under it is preventive strategies. That the components preventive strategies, which include proactive measures to prevent the occurrence of targeted behavior. This may involve modifying the environment, altering the routines, and providing alternative activities. So that is just under the components of BIP. So where we're going to be drawing a curtain tonight is that we are still continuing under the developing and implementing organized right. So if you want to see the teaching replacement behaviors. So identify and teach alternative behaviors that serve the same function as a challenging behavior, but are more acceptable. Here, identify and teach alternative behaviors that serve the same function as a challenging behavior, but are more acceptable. So reinforce the use of these alternative behaviors. So another one is consequence strategies. Rectify or specify consequences for both desired and undesired behavior. And how do you do it? Through positive reinforcement for appropriate behaviors and through consistent consequences for challenging behavior are outlined as well. Number three thing we're going to be looking at is that we under the same developing and implementing the device behavior plan. Is want to look at implementation and monitoring. Implementation and monitoring. Right. So that is going to putting a stop to it tonight. Right, as I've said, is that we look at clear implementation guidelines. So what do we do in this very place is clearly outline how the interventions will be implemented. How do you intervene in the behavior, the challenging behavior? Is that you clearly outline how the interventions will be implemented. Two, which includes roles and responsibility of teachers, support staff, the parents, and other stakeholders. So they're inside the parents. So this thing must be done and must be put in place. Another thing under the implementation and monitoring is that consistent monitoring, especially those who are, let's just go back now to church. So if you are just meeting a person in a one kind of attitude and you talk to that person about Christ, yes, so there's a need for you to keep monitoring the person. If the person has continued in that behavior, in that alcohol he has taught. So the same thing to what we are doing here. And the knowledge we got from this education, training, that is what has been transferred into the evangelism and church settings as well. So consistent monitoring and regularly monitor and assess the effectiveness of the BIP. By so doing, adjustments may be necessary based on ongoing data collection and your observations. So thank you very much. This is where I'm going to be drawing a curtain to it tonight. So by the special grace of God, we're not going to meet again for the year. We're going to meet. So this is going to be the last time we are meeting, because the next class training session is going to be Saturday, the 24th, preparation for the Christmas. So we have to go on holiday as well. So when we come back, our better grace of God on the 9th of January 2024, God's willing, every one of us, God is going to spare our life beyond 2024. So we shall stop back here again. There is no back here to continue the training. And don't forget that certificate shall be awarded as well. Okay? Certificate shall be awarded as well. All right. Thank you very much for coming along. So on this note, I'm going to be drawing a curtain to this. Your camera is off. Yeah. So thank you very much, everyone, tonight. You same time and same station. You have a wonderful Christmas and Happy New Year ahead. Thank you very much.